Right, thanks everybody. I think we've had a really good discussion on the effects of the mini budget from a few weeks ago. Let's move on to the budget of the 17th of November. Now, what initiatives would you like to see from the government and the Prime Minister? I think it's probably likely interest rates are going to rise and taxes are going to rise and public spending is going to have to reduce. But from your perspective, what would you like to see in terms of the government, and what do you expect to see?
In my opinion, I think more needs to be done to support the rental sector. I think we're dealing with an absolute rental crisis that's just not being given the attention that it needs to. From the data that I've been assessing, I can see that in Hackney, we're down 55% in terms of available rental stock. A few concerns that I have is around the loosely governed Airbnb 90-day rule. So many landlords that we're speaking to, and they are taking a decent chunk away from the residential market in terms of rental stock available, who are just completely ignoring the 90-day rule and taking a huge chunk of housing outside of our market. So if we're down as a borough on the same year, 55%, and all 32 boroughs in London have been affected, and from what I'm seeing, that's been reflected up and down the country, something needs to be done. There's been such a lack of support, and in fact, it's gone in the other way, in the other direction for landlords, that they've had such a hard time that they've bailed from the market, which has actually only resulted in affecting the residents themselves. So the very people that they're trying to support, the residents or tenants, are being, really adversely affected over this, and it's just not getting the attention that it needs. So what more can we do to help landlords so that they stay as landlords and provide the stock to the rental market?
Yeah, and I'll turn to you, Stu, because I know you've looked into the rental market quite a lot across the whole UK. I think you're seeing that landlords are being driven out. The stock is low everywhere, and that's ultimately driving up rental prices for tenants and making it unaffordable. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what we're saying at the minute. It's the lowest rental stock ever since our databases began. And as you say, that's driving up prices, and announcing things like banning Section 21 isn't going to make landlords want to stay in the marketplace for very much longer.
But interestingly, we all look at the headlines, but when you actually deep dive into the stats, there's only 260,000, working on a stock of 4.4 million rental properties. And I say only, there's 260,000 less, so which is a reduction of around 6%, not 44. What we're finding is this: tenants aren't rents going up, so tenants aren't moving out because they know damn well that the thing that they're spending £1,000 is going to be £1,200. So they think, I'll stay where I am and I won't move. But if everyone's thinking that, then the lack of supply, the price goes up. And the more as the price goes up, people bunker down even more. I mean, interesting, if you look at the stats of stamp duty and what buy-to-let landlords have to buy-to-let landlords are buying houses just as much as they were in the previous years. What's been happening is more people have been selling. There's always the net growth of buy-to-let has been quite nice over the years, from 2000 all the way up to around 2017. You always have people leaving the market, more people coming in. What we've got is the same number of people coming in, but more people selling up. Yeah. And the net effect is that we've had that reduction of 260,000 rental properties, and people are not moving, because what you'll find is this: landlords with existing tenants are not very good at rising the rents in line with the market, because they want to protect their landlords. So in reality, I think landlords have actually made a rod for their own back by not rising the rents of their properties.
Isn't that the old adage? If you're a landlord, you find a tenant and don't find a good tenant and don't increase the rent, basically.
Especially from what we experienced from the pandemic, there was thankfully quite a few landlords that were like, just hold it, bring it down if we need to, make sure everybody rides out this period. But what we didn't anticipate was how many landlords would end up bailing, because from what I've experienced anyway, so many landlords have exited the market. Yeah, so many. And look, I totally understand the numbers and the figures, but I think there's actual external factors such as the Airbnb matter, HMOs. Like there's many other reasons where the lack of stock has led to such a huge increase and surge in rental figures, and the only ones affected are the tenants.
But interestingly, up until 2 years ago, rents, if you compare rents from 2008 up until 2 years ago, they were below inflation. They're probably just catching up now.